Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. Fox's Charles Gasparino says XRP community's hatred of ETH is absurd. Okay, so a couple things right out the gate here. I understand that a lot of you listening no longer like Charles Gasparino. I get that. I respect your opinion. I don't feel the same. So hopefully you can respect my opinion as well, even if you think that, your position is more reasonable. But I'm still a fan of Charles Gasparino. Just as a quick table setting thing, in case you actually missed this, Charles Gasparino has publicly stated that he doesn't think that there's any evidence that Bill Hinman broke the law. All the improprieties that we've uncovered regarding, ethics concerns, this or that. And I think it's flatly the case that Gasparino is wrong on that, but the division there between XRP community feeling differently, and then the fact that Charles Gasparino at one point said it's kind of like a conspiracy type thing, that set people off, understandably so. So I think that Charles is missing the mark here, but that doesn't mean I don't like him. I do think he's wrong, but that's okay because he thinks the people that hold my view are wrong and need more evidence. I still don't think it makes sense though, because it's very clear that the ethics office told him that there was a criminal concern, literally criminal, if he was in touch with his former law firm Simpson Thacher, and then he did meet with them at least 3 times after being told that that would be a criminal offense by the SEC ethics office. And intent isn't required, he just has to do it. And I still haven't seen Charles Gasparino explain how that wouldn't be breaking the law. The only thing that I found that might explain it, but I need him to confirm, is from what he had written, it looked like he was of the mindset that Bill Hinman didn't have intent and therefore wasn't anything illegal. Wasn't anything illegal done there. But according to Attorney John Deaton, that's not the standard. The standard regarding this law, whether or not it was illegal, is did you do it, not whether you intended to do it. So I'm going to share with you some thoughts on this, including from some of my fellow XRP YouTubers. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, also, to be perfectly fair, I'm trying to be as reasonable, fair, neutral as possible. It is true that Gasparino was verbally attacked on social media by some, and it's not many, but like fringe elements of the XRP community. But it's also fair to state that there were instances where, from my perspective, it looked like Charles Gasparino punched first. He said he only punches back, but I saw him punch first, like with attorney Jeremy Hogan, when he was making a joke about attorney Jeremy Hogan, something along the lines of, what, did you get your law degree from Trump University or something like that? Which, it's unfortunate. It's actually kind of a funny line, but come on, like, Jeremy Hogan's like the nicest dude on the damn planet. He wasn't saying anything to disparage Charles Gasparino, so I thought that was regrettable. But anyway, check out this piece. And by the way, the Crypto Basic, I don't know what the hell is wrong with their damn website, but for those of you looking at the screen, you can see it's all aligned left. There's like nothing on the right side of the screen, and I find it highly irritating. But it is what it is, man. A bunch of C students running a website, man. So anyway, check out this article. Fox Business senior correspondent Charles Gasparino has asserted that the XRP community hates everything associated with Ethereum. The journalist who made this known in a tweet yesterday described this perceived hatred as absurd, as everyone he knows who is associated with Ethereum wants a Ripple win in the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission case. So look, I'll just pause to state, I think he has a really bad taste in his mouth from the XRP community at this point, but this is the thing. Like, when it comes to any large group, there's always going to be a certain percentage of people who are very, let's just say, vocal, okay? For any group, this is not unique to the XRP community. This is true of any big-ass group. You little taste all God's creatures out there, you know what I'm saying? So, the people that are not happy with what Charles Gasparino said, they've piped up. And so he probably has this sense that it's most people in the XRP community that feel so-and-so, but that's an illusion. That is definitely not true. But this is the tweet from Charles Gasparino. He wrote, "Absurdity of the XRP community hatred for all things and people associated with Ethereum can be found in the fact that every person I know associated with Ethereum wants Ripple to prevail over the SEC because what it will mean for crypto regulation and probably the ETH coin." Okay, so that's good. The people that he's talking to that are part of the ETH community they want a Ripple win. Super duper. I think most rational, sane people would say that. So that's good. That is very good to see that. And so here's what I wrote to Charles Gasparino. I said, I personally want ETH to succeed. It's actually the first cryptocurrency I ever purchased, and I've been holding it since 2017. There are people in the XRP community that feel different, but I honestly suspect most don't hate ETH. I just want SEC to stop regulation by enforcement. And that's pretty much my stance. I'm pro ETH. I don't know if it's going to be long-term viable, but that'd be awesome if it is, because I've been holding it for over 5 years, So just saying. We'll see what happens here. But, in reading through the comments, and again, I'm going to share with you just a few more, but what I keep seeing, the vast majority of comments being, is people saying, well, no, Charles Gasparino, actually, we within the XRP community don't hate ETH. We want it to succeed. And really, I think it's the case that most people just don't like the sense of favoritism. And I don't either. I don't like the improprieties, but that doesn't mean that I want ETH to fail. It doesn't mean I want the SEC to attack ETH the coin, or people who founded ETH or build on top of that blockchain. I don't want any of that to happen. Here's a tweet from my fellow XRP YouTuber Crypto Eddie. She wrote to Charles Gasparino and said, "Hi, Charles. As a journalist, I imagine you understand any community is of very diverse opinions. In addition, I think you're confusing the digital asset ETH itself with actions by some of its founders, as well as the despicable SEC behavior. I'd place a bet on someone has your ear." Yeah, so that pretty well sounds right to me. I just think it's a perception thing that Charles has about the XRP community, which is why, again, this is not an attack on him. I do think that he's mistaken regarding his position about whether Bill Hinman did something illegal. But again, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Like I saw him say that, and that didn't upset me. There are other things that I found more irritating than that, And then there's this from my fellow XRP YouTuber Mikkel. He wrote to Charles Gasparino and said, "Many XRP holders hold ETH. No one wants ETH to fail. We want Hinman to be held accountable for his obvious conflicts of interest when he was at the SEC. This is not us attacking ETH. This mess was made by the SEC. The XRP ledger will soon have an Ethereum virtual machine compatible sidechain. XRP and ETH are being built to work together. Stop trying to push a narrative that doesn't exist. We want corrupt officials held accountable. That's it." Yeah, so I think Mikkel's correct there. And I don't think Charles is trying to push a false narrative. I think that's his perception based on his interactions with the XRP community. Because the ones that are cool with him, like, I'm not really tweeting at him a whole bunch. It's the ones that aren't happy with him that are tweeting at him, which is why there's this perception that the world's out to get him, everybody in the XRP community, but that really isn't the case, actually. And then there was this. Oh, and by the way, I will say this too. The reason that the entire XRP community is not out to get Charles Gasparino is because he did not go full Hoskinson. You never want to go full Hoskinson, and Charles didn't. So Charles Gasparino, titled his opinion, another fellow XRP YouTuber, King Solomon, wrote to him and said, "Actually, Charles, if you've been here long enough, you'd realize it's actually the opposite of your entire thesis." And that's true. So, I think the vast majority of us would probably pretty well be on the same page when it comes to this. In fact, if anything, you know who is attacking the XRP community? It's because it's not the way that Charles Gasparino seems to see it. It's actually the opposite, if anything. And again, I'm not saying that the whole ETH community is out to get the XRP, but if you look here from Vitalik Buterin, here's a tweet from December 21st, 2020. "Looks like the Ripple/XRP team is sinking to new levels of strangeness. They're claiming that their S-word coin should not be called a security for public policy reasons, namely because Bitcoin and Ethereum are Chinese controlled." And I've talked about this on the channel before, and he shared this little screen grab here. So this is from Ripple's attorneys. They wrote, "Innovation in the cryptocurrency industry will be fully ceded to China. The Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchains are highly susceptible to Chinese control because both are subject to simple majority rule, whereas the XRP ledger prevents comparable centralization." So the fact that Ripple's attorneys wrote that, whether you agree or disagree, that's not the reason I wanted to highlight it. That's not an attack from the XRP community, but Vitalik actually viewed it as that. And now we're all his enemies, which is completely absurd. This is a childish point of view. And then on August 17th of last year, Vitalik tweeted out, "XRP already lost their right to protection when they tried to throw us under the bus as China controlled, in my opinion." And David Schwartz actually ended up responding and wrote, "The government should punish projects that disagree with our narrative. Seems pretty on brand for ETH. Also, I do think it's perfectly fair to analogize miners in proof of work systems to stockholders and companies. Just as eBay's stockholders earn from the residual friction between buyers and sellers that eBay does not remove, so do miners in ETH and Bitcoin. So let's pause and note what it means in case it wasn't clear. He's saying that there's intentional friction on eBay, just as a comparison, because the eBay as a platform, as a company that must turn a profit in order to exist, that's considered friction from the point of view of the buyer and the seller, because they're eating into fee, so it costs more for the buyer, and then the seller, they don't get to keep what would otherwise be the full profit. So that's friction in the ecosystem, but it's acceptable. I think we'd mostly agree, acceptable, friction in today's world, because at least we have the platform, right? So it's cool. We like the platform. But he's saying here, it's kind of similar to proof of work systems, where they don't have an incentive to have prices low. Miners want to make a lot of money, right? And so that's what he's making, right? And the point he's making. And then David Schwartz says, just as eBay stockholders want to leave as much friction between buyers and sellers as they can, because that's their revenue stream, so do miners in ETH and Bitcoin. That's part of why they have higher fees than the XRP ledger. Do you think this debate should be settled by the government or the market, Vitalik Buterin? This quotation wasn't pulled from some attempt by Ripple to get the government to regulate ETH, was it? Yeah, so point certainly not lost on me. We don't want ETH to be attacked. That's a fringe. If you were one of the people that wants ETH to be sued by the SEC, then you do hold a fringe position. Just know that. You're entitled to it, but you hold a fringe position. And that wasn't the only time that Vitalik Buterin said nonsense. Do you remember this from just a few weeks ago? This is December 19th, just a few weeks ago. Vitalik Buterin, here's a headline. Vitalik Buterin draws Ripple CTO's ire after calling XRP completely centralized. All this time and he still doesn't understand. And he did. He said that XRP central. It's factually incorrect. There is no central point of failure. It's complete and utter garbage. Vitalik is intentionally saying stuff that's not true. He has to know this. He's not stupid, but he's acting like a child despite the fact that he's a grown-ass man. So David Schwartz responded to him and said, all this time, and he still doesn't understand, or is pretending not to understand, that Ripple is a company and XRP is a digital asset. He thinks XRP can say things. So look, all this to say, if anything, it's not that the XRP community is attacking ETH or this or that, or the community, or wants the SEC to come down. If anything, it's the opposite. And again, I'm not even saying that the ETH community as a whole wants the worst for the XRP community or XRP itself. But I'm just saying, if you look at the evidence, it's more so in that direction. I'm just saying. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.